Here it is. Let's read really fast. It says the Jefferson County Circuit Court has ruled that the petition calling for a referendum on a school tax did not contain a sufficient number of signatures.
No, that's not true.
It's okay. Thanks for the info. This is awful. That's why I hate texting when you do using this stuff, but that's okay. It's all good. Did not contain a sufficient number of signatures to place the issue on the ballot. That's what the whole idea was.
It was on the ballot.
They already put it on there.
Told you that's what they're trying to invalidate.
Yeah, but it was on the ballot.
Here's what it says.
If it weren't for the union workers that voted for Trump, he would never have gotten in.
Well, they said this time around that a lot more are going to vote for him because most of the unions usually vote for Democrats.
Hi, this is Frank Simon with the rest of the news, and we're here in the studio with Cindy Marlow. We've got some really important things to talk about, especially in light of this election, which is for the survival of our country. So we want to begin with a video that the left-wingers, you might call them the Chinese communists, took off the internet because it was pro-America.
America is a land of heroes, a place where greatness is born, where destinies are forged, and where legends come to life. This is the home of Thomas Edison and Teddy Roosevelt, of many great generals, including Washington, Pershing, Patton, and MacArthur. This is the home of Abraham Lincoln, Frederick Douglass, Amelia Earhart, Harriet Tubman, the Wright brothers, Neil Armstrong, and so many more. This is the country where children learn names like Wyatt Earp, Davy Crockett, and Annie Oakley. This is the place where the Pilgrims landed at Plymouth and where Texas patriots made their last stand at the Alamo. The American nation was carved out of the vast frontier by the toughest, strongest, fiercest, and most determined men and women ever to walk on the face of the earth. Our ancestors braved the unknown, tamed the wilderness, settled the Wild West, lifted millions from poverty, disease, and hunger, vanquished tyranny and fascism, ushered the world to new heights of science and medicine, laid down the railroads, dug out the canals, raised up the skyscrapers. Our ancestors built the most exceptional republic ever to exist in all of human history, and we are making it greater than ever before. This is our glorious and magnificent inheritance. We are Americans. We are pioneers. We are the pathfinders. We settled the new world. We built the modern world. And we changed history forever by embracing the eternal truth that everyone is made equal by the hand of Almighty God. America is the place where anything can happen. America is the place where anyone can rise. And here, on this land, on this soil, on this continent, the most incredible dreams come true. This nation is our canvas, and this country is our masterpiece. We look at tomorrow and see unlimited frontiers just waiting to be explored. Our brightest discoveries are not yet known. Our most thrilling stories are not yet told. Our grandest journeys are not yet made. The American age, the American epic, the American adventure has only just begun. Our spirit is still young. The sun is still rising. God's grace is still shining. And my fellow Americans, the best is yet to come.
That was really good. Why was that taken off the airways?
It's beyond understanding, except for the fact that people really hate America and freedom.
Yeah,
It's the only thing
there
I
are
can think of.
people that are bought and paid for by the Chinese communists, and they do not like America. They don't like you, they don't like me, and they hate America. They hate freedom, and they want to be slaves to the Communist Chinese Party.
What's really sad, said at the end there, the best is yet to come. My daddy, he's got dementia now, so he doesn't say hardly anything anymore, but he always says, remember, Cindy, and I was going to start crying. He said, "I'll always look up because the best is yet to come with the Lord in heaven." And that is such a true statement. To me, it makes me sad to think we have these people out there like we were confronted with the Black Lives Matter, how these people hate themselves, hate being white, hate freedom. It's just sad.
The election that's coming up in a couple of days is about two groups of people: the American people, all the American people, and the Chinese communists and the deep state, which hate America, and they want to enslave us. That's what they're going to do if they get a chance.
You try to pick their brain. Sometimes I think about it at night when I'm at home and after the day and after seeing so many things. I pick my mind thinking, why do people want to live like that and control people? It has to be purely they're godless.
Yeah.
And it has to be evil. And I hate to call it that, but that's what it is.
The Democrat Party took God out of their entire platform. And later on, they tried to put it back in, but they didn't have the votes, but they put it back in anyway. But in general, the Democrat Party voted to get rid of God. And I remember when Ronald Reagan tried to put prayer back in the public schools, and it went right down party line.
So this was back in the early 80s,
quite a while back. But the Democrats voted against prayer.
Even back then.
Of course, it wasn't 100%, but in general, most of the Democrats voted against prayer, and most of the Republicans voted for prayer.
And what's that? If you are out there and haven't voted yet, and you know you're a Christian, I just really don't understand how you can vote for Biden. You can't stand Trump, but you cannot say that Trump doesn't love America because he has done so many things. He believes in funding the police, and he loves the police. What happened over the summer with
the Democrat Party in general backed the riots and the burning of cars and burning of buildings and smashing windows. The Democrats in general supported that.
Well, not only that, but they also are keeping our schools and businesses closed. And I heard someone say the other day, actually it was my son, has a friend in Missouri, and he can't keep it open anymore, his business, because he can't live on 25% capacity.
I would say the Democrat Party has been bought and paid for by the Chinese communists.
Let's talk about that. Let's talk about how they have done that. Think about it. The critical manufacturing sector, what did they do? They took away a lot of our factories and they moved them to China, so we have what? Less jobs?
Oh, absolutely.
And everything. Then the defense industry, we were so depleted under Obama.
Well, they tried to do away with the steel industry in America.
And then you had the energy sector. They wanted not necessarily China involved, but it may be the Democrats want to end fracking, fossil fuels.
Oh, yeah.
They don't want to use our natural resources of coal, gas, and oil. I think it's natural gas and coal that's used mostly and a little bit of oil for the heating, but you all want to be like California where they have brownouts and blackouts all the time. And they have to literally limit to what they can turn the air condition and heat on. And then the financial service sectors. Well, we can really get into that with all the stuff we've been finding out about Biden. You want to elaborate?
Hunter Biden, all of this has come out in the last 2 days or so, where Hunter Biden's laptop has got conversations on it where he talked with his dad and other people about his financial dealings with China. Joe Biden said, "Oh, no, I never talked with Hunter Biden about his business deals." But really, they've got it on tape.
Bob Alinsky, this is him, I believe. Eric, actually, I saw him on an interview. He's a Democrat. I've known that for a long time.
Yeah.
But he believes in America. Financial dealings but he believes in America. Financial dealings or help them with their legal end on, I think, with the wealth part. And he said when he was in the debate, he heard him say, I don't know anything about what my son does. And he said, I about got up out of his chair to call him liar. But instead, he said, I want you to retract it. He called the Biden family to retract it. They didn't, so they gave him to the weekend. And Monday, that's this past week,
When
he
went on
reported
Tucker,
it. He whistleblowed it.
You can fool some people some of the time, but you can't fool everybody. The
That's
truth
a very
finally
good
came
statement.
out.
Also with our health care and public health sector.
Oh, yes.
Think about all the drugs that they controlled. Everything's coming from China. Well, Trump has already started having the manufacturers. He's really good about
Bringing jobs back to America.
He's good about bringing the private sector in with the government. And hey, do that. Instead of sending factories off, let's manufacture
in America.
Like he did with the PPE. Brought all the companies like car manufacturers.
Trump is for the working man.
Exactly.
The common man, the taxpayer, the worker. If it weren't for the union workers that voted for Trump, he would never have gotten in.
Well, they said this time around that a lot more are going to vote for him because most of the unions usually vote for Democrats.
That's all changed.
Kamala keeps saying that, and she did that to Mike Pence. She goes, why do you always want to help the big man? And I thought, okay, Kamala, I like to ask her, do you ever see a person like me hire somebody? Well, of course not. I can't afford it. But a millionaire can open a business and hire hundreds of people.
A factory owner.
Yeah, exactly.
Absolutely. This is some more data here.
Okay.
There are 18 big corporations in America that are backing Black Lives Matter, which they admit is a Marxist or communist organization.
They're open about it now.
Okay, here's Amazon, Microsoft, Nabisco.
Let's stop at Amazon. Millions of Americans shop at Amazon. I haven't for a long time because I knew they were affiliated. I don't know how I knew it. I guess probably reading something. But my daughter shops on there and I tell her not to. But go ahead and read the rest.
Big companies in America that are backing the communists.
Let's read them there.
Amazon, Microsoft, Gatorade, The Atlantic Magazine, and Warner Record Label.
What's that?
I'm not familiar with that. But that's amazing. Here these businessmen made millions in America, and now they're turning against America and trying to help the communists.
Our debt is beholden to China. It's one of the communist manifestos is to overstimulate our economy, become so increasingly in debt to another entity, which is China. And what do you have? Talk about the two African countries.
It's South Africa. They're killing all the farmers. They're trying to get rid of the farmers. That's what communists always do.
But tell them about the money that they gave the two presidents.
Oh, yeah. They lend them money to the government. When time comes, they're supposed to pay it back. They say, oh, we can't pay that all back now. He says, well, we'll just take your country instead.
See, what they're doing is they're ingratiating themselves to them. And so China is an enemy, y'all.
Rhodesia is the other one.
Nike, I have Nike products, and I'm not going to throw away my Nike shoes, but I refuse to buy Nike anymore. But they have all these sports professionals that have just totally gone over and bent over backwards.
To help the communists.
Well, they want their money. They want to go over there and play their games and sell their Nike products, and that's all about money, wealth instead of freedom.
Now, here's another article just recently about National Public Radio. They refuse to report on Hunter Biden's dealings with communist China. And so the whole idea that the media in America refuses to support the truth because they're bought and paid for by the communist Chinese and George Soros and other radical left-wingers, and they're trying to control what you can find out.
And that's what they've done with these NPR ads, remember? They've taken off all the ads for Trump, but what are they doing? They're actually using propaganda ads, aren't they? What was that one? I thought you had a thought there.
We pay for National Public Radio. They are funded by you and me and the taxpayer. So now they're saying, oh, no, we want to promote communism and get the freedom out of America. So we'll all be slaves like in communist countries.
And I don't want to rustle my papers here, but I think it was 700 universities.
Oh,
NPR
yes.
stations at universities.
Okay, here's the article by Martin Lawyer, and he says that 700 universities get this National Public Radio, and they used our money to promote communism and Black Lives Matter.
And that brings us to that little elementary thing. Here in Louisville, there was a lady, and her name was Vicki Cox, and she said she's a former student of Hazelwood Elementary. Oh, she's a former student. I thought she was a grandmother that took her child there. But she was almost in tears when she passed by the school the other day. This was back in August, so that was just a couple months ago. And she said when she saw that Black Lives Matter Hazelwood Hawks posted on a digital sign that stands out front in the lawn of the school with big yellow letters, and she said, why can't we just put all lives matter?
Of course.
These are teaching children about discrimination, racism. Actually, what they're doing is fueling the fire to hate white people. They already talk. All of us here are white supremacists. Why am I a white supremacist? Because I'm white.
Systemic racism and all that. Well, if there is racism in America, then why is it that all the other countries want to immigrate?
Yeah, why do they want to come here if we're so bad? Also, think about it. We have Ben Carson, urban housing
renewal
for the bigger city. We had Condoleezza Rice, I can't pronounce her name. We had Colin Powell. We had all kinds of people right now that are just involved. We have African American men and women in Congress more than we've ever had. And people are not voting people because of their skin.
Public radio put out a program promoting violence, riots, arson, burning buildings, destruction, and looting are legitimate. They encouraged it.
Well, they said it's a rightful place to protest. It's not a protest. It's violence and destruction against American business owners and people's property. That's what it is. Don't you think, Dr. Simon? Should I come over and live in your house because you got a bigger house? Or should Zach come over and live in my house? Oh, I'll tell you better than that. Why don't all them Black Lives Matter people go burn down Pelosi's gate and live in her house? She's got a 10,000, I think, square foot home. Why should she have a 10,000 square foot home?
With a fence all around.
And do you think she's going to give that up?
No.
No. I don't think so.
If the Democrats get in, then the Democrats are going to get very rich. But you and me and everybody that are working people, they're going to get poorer and poorer because they're going to raise the taxes, take the money you make, and give it to Pelosi and these bigwigs.
Think about it. They said that they want to redistribute the wealth. Here's my point is that I always think about it like on a chart. Say someone makes $1 million a year, and someone down here makes 200,000, someone down here makes 30,000. If they want to redistribute everything, where they tax, say they tax them up at 80%, them at 40, and them at 20 or whatever. Okay, what incentive would there be for someone
to work hard
to not only get 20% of his income? So eventually, over time, what that does is that
kills initiative.
It kills taxes. Then the government will be so poor because these people aren't making $1 million. They say, forget it. I'm not going to make this money.
Well, isn't that exactly what happened in Venezuela and wherever the communists take over?
And that just happened.
It ruins like Rhodesia and South Africa, Venezuela.
Cuba. We have Cuban friends here, and they beg people, please listen to us. And
push back on socialism.
I saw a sign the other day on Taylorsville Road, well, late last night when I was going to deliver something to somebody, a great big homemade sign that says, vote Biden, or vote Joe. That's what it was. I just don't understand it. It was in front of, like, government housing apartments. That's where it was. It was there off of Fagenbush, and they were, like, low-income housing. And I thought, that's interesting. Vote Joe, and you want to stay in your low-income housing.
If we get the wrong people controlling our country, the taxes are going to go up, the jobs are going to go down, we're all going to be unemployed, the jobs are going to go back to China where Trump brought them in. There's no law and order. They don't believe in anything in America. They just want to tear everything down.
Yeah, how about American production? Think about what he did his first year. We got oil independence. They want electric cars. And they want to stop fracking and have electricity by coal and oil. It's interesting, but they want electric cars. Now, how are you going to have electric cars if you're going to reduce electricity production? Because you're sure not going to get electric cars with windmills. Someone said, not the way I just said it, but they had made that same assertion. I thought, think about that. How can you have electric cars going around with windmills producing their electricity? Crazy.
Now, here's another article. It says Ukraine has brought charges against Biden.
And this goes back to the communist thing we're talking about today. We're talking about communist infiltration of our government. We have a person, Bidens are influenced by China, and so they got money dealings in Ukraine. I know it's a different country, but it's all about their corrupt dealings that are not American.
Now, you remember we talked about this before.
Yeah.
Nikita Khrushchev stood up in the United Nations and banged his fist against the desk and said, "We're going to bury America without firing a shot." Well, that's what this election is all about.
56?
1956.
We've come close to it.
Well, right after that, they took prayer out of the schools, our schools, took the Ten Commandments, the Bible, creation science. They tried to kick God out, and there's still a few Christians left. Well, they're trying to get rid of them now, get rid of Christianity.
Well, that's what they want. They're godless people. And that all goes back in the beginning. Why? I keep asking why. Rush was asking that today. Actually, it was a Trump interview because he had to get off the air because he wasn't feeling good. So y'all want to pray out there for Rush Limbaugh. Yeah, he had to leave early. He didn't want to. And so he used an interview he had right after Trump had the coronavirus. And he interviewed him about 3 or 4 days after he had the coronavirus and went to the hospital. He said he keeps thinking, why? He said, why are people wanting to just destroy
America?
They're godless.
Cindy, you and I have experienced that because our program has been taken off the air by Facebook.
Especially the hydroxychloroquine.
Yeah. So anything that's true, Facebook wants to take it down immediately. If it supports America and Americans, well, they want to get rid of it.
Well, all I have to say to Facebook is eventually we're going to be leaving Facebook. We're going to go to other platforms.
That's exactly right.
Which we're in the middle of we're tired of being censored. That's one of the beauties and foundation of our tenets of freedom, free speech. And
our Constitution gives us the right to say what we need to say and the truth and tell the truth. Well, they don't want you telling the truth. They want to go along with their idea of making us all into communist slaves under the communist government.
I saw somewhere on the line, this person says they were all for like communism in their manifesto, saying that it's important to spread the wealth because wealth enslaves people.
Oh my goodness.
Well, in a sense, it can be a slave, and so can anything else. But you can't tell me that someone who is wealthy is worse off than someone who is poor. Right. The people that we saw downtown with all the I don't know how many, I think there's probably 50 or 60 where they were homeless when me and Marilyn went down there like a week ago to pray. And I was appalled because my husband had attended his cancer treatment downtown. And I went down the same time of the day, it was in the afternoon, and it's like they were everywhere, Dr. Simon.
That's
and
right.
All on the street. I said, is that what they want for America? You want everybody to be like that?
Now, here's another article. This is about the virus, the coronavirus or COVID, and it compares with the flu. And it said the people with coronavirus may be 1 out of 100, and this is 0.1. So that'd be, this
twice as high.
So more people die from the flu than die from coronavirus.
It's interesting you brought that up. My son sent me from their CDC website, and they took down all the past years, and I've seen them on their website, and they're not there anymore. All the flu, they just have the last year.
I tell you, it's amazing.
Oh, wait a minute, what they're doing, they only have 50 people in the United States that's contracted the flu in the last few months. Everything else has been COVID. You can't tell me there's something skewed there, something wrong.
Absolutely something
and
wrong.
They took down all their other websites. I found that interesting too, so we can't compare the flu. People should have the flu right now, but it's all COVID. That don't make any sense. Have we eradicated the flu?
The guy that got in an accident with his motorcycle and got killed. They said, oh, he had the
COVID.
flu.
Well, I had a friend of mine who I've known from high school, and she lives in South Carolina, and one of her best friends there, both parents, one died, and they were really old. They were in their 90s. One was 97, one was 94. They just died of old age. They were not sick. When they got their death certificate back, they were livid. It had COVID on both of them. And I thought, can you give me those people's name? I would love to interview them for our show. But she said she'd ask, but they probably won't. There was some place that they went out and started testing people for COVID. And they said everybody, or 99% had COVID. They said that's impossible. So they went back and did it again. It was more like 10%. We might have the antibodies. We might have some of it in it, because my daughter said they quit testing all the time. She said even after you've been for 10, 14 days, after that point, you can still take a test and still be positive, but you're not contagious and they're asymptomatic. Well, I tell you, I think we're about out of time, but about the vote, we got to vote. We all got to vote because the communists are there and they're trying to take us over. And they will if we don't get out and vote for honesty and freedom and everything being honest. God bless you. Thanks for tuning in next week for the rest of the news. Hi, I'm Dr. Frank Simon. I'm an allergist and family doctor, board certified in both allergy and internal medicine. I specialize in allergy, headaches, sinus, hives, cough, asthma, hypertension, and diabetes. We're located at 1404 Browns Lane near Norton Suburban Hospital. Our phone number is 895-5088. We can see you tomorrow. The Atlantic, brother. What's the Atlantic? That's a major left-wing magazine. Oh.
Yeah, they do long articles too with opinion pieces that are very long.
I don't know if I've seen it. Duncan Blass, because they said Black Lives Matter is justified in burning places. Zach, you want to come and join us too? Why don't you join us today? Go
I can't do it right now though. I have to be behind the cameras.
Do you have to?
Yep.
We ready to start?
No. Just a second. I'm going to put this here.
Cindy's got to start the live stream first.
Okay, I just want to make sure nothing was in there. FBI confirms investigating money laundering. We talked about it all downstairs. I don't have it. The hackers stealing $1 million from his campaign. We have all this China. All China. Just $1 million? That's not too bad. Yes. Yeah, they got 6.5 billion here. Help us, Lord. Well, I'm just in Jesus' name. Amen. This is something important too. Oh yeah, we might want to mention that about the lady at Hazelwood. Remember, maybe you could end it with Hazelwood. That. Remember the lady's daughter picked her up at school, and it says Black Lives Matter, and this is her. It was published in the Courier Journal on Wave News. That's important. That goes along with this, I guess. With Black Lives Matter. So yeah, Black Lives Matter. So this is Black Lives Matter here. And what it's doing is it's going all the way down to elementary level. So we had that the last program where we had the Black Lives Matter influence even on elementary schools.